Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to round number 4 of the F1 Esports World Championship. This time we are driving around one of my favorite tracks in the F1 calendar on the F1 game. It is a Jeddah Corniche circuit, and as you can see we're heading out for our first Q1 run at the moment. Need to warm up these tires quite aggressively as per usual on the F1 game. And yeah, Jeddah having long straights, they don't really warm up a lot throughout the lap anyway. They cool down quite a lot in the start of sector 2 and then all the way up until sector 1 basically, where you really have some high speed corners and get some good temperature into them. So yeah, championship standings, we're P3 at the moment, 16 points behind Ismail Fassi, 2 points behind Isvan Puki, and 6 points ahead of Thomas Ronner. We are P3 in the constructors at the moment, quite far behind Mercedes actually. They've had a really good opening 3 rounds, and yeah, no ideal, but it is what it is, as we are just trying to get some good space ahead of us. We got 2 Ferraris and an Alpine, I think so, ahead of us starting the lap. So we're one of the first to start our laps. Usually we're one of the latest, but yeah, I guess everyone decided to go late this time around. So let's see what we can do here at our first Q1 run. Goal, as per usual, is to make it through into Q2 on a single set of tires. So we got 2 new sets of tires for Q3. However, as per usual, easier said than done. Into turn 1, we're gonna go. Braking hard on a 100 meters board and absolutely clatter over the inside curbs on both the left and the right. And trying to get a good acceleration out of turn number 2 over the painted area on the outside, and then carry lots of speed through the left-hander. The amounts of times I've taken off a front wheel in practice through that first left-hander is incredible. Just like everyone else, I guess. Into sector 2 we're gonna go then. It is at 31.812. Bit hard to say how good it is because Q1 low grip and the majority of the corners are in sector 1. So the biggest time loss from lower grip conditions is always gonna come from the sector 1. And then we had towards sector 3. That was the final corner of sector 2 already. Sector 2, quite short, mainly just straights, not too many corners. However, this one is really hard coming up. You have to turn in early, but if you turn in too early, you hit the apex wall and you invalidate your lap straight away because you get sent off wide at the exit. It's just so tricky to hit right, because at the same time, if you turn in too late, you cannot carry the exit speed as well because you have to lift off. So through the final corner we're gonna go. Up to the line, DRS open. It is gonna be 1:26.777, 2/10 faster than Joni Tormela, who is ahead of both Ferraris. So that was a good opening run from us, and we made it through in P5 with just that run. So that was really, really nice. Saved the set of tires. However, now it's time to make it into Q3 for the second time. Obviously, we made it through in China, but that was perhaps not completely a fair measurement due to the slipstreams. So let's try and make it into Q3 for the first time on a good measurement. First run in Q2 then, nothing too special, used set of tires. And yeah, Tom Manley with a 1:26.977. Obviously on used tires. Well, everyone who's setting laps at the moment is going to be on used tires, and it's not going to be really representative. So Ismail Fassi in P2 with a 27.185. We go 1.8 times faster than that. However, it doesn't really matter because those lap times are way too slow to make it into Q3. Here we go then. Purple middle sector for us. 4/10 up in our first Q2 run. And yeah, we're gonna definitely need 4/10 to make it into Q3 here. A little bit wide on entry into the final corner. You really saw us losing like a 10th compared to our used tires on the entry there, but we made up for it with the exit, and it is P1 with some people still left to finish their runs, but it was a good lap. And yeah, P3 at the very end there when everyone finished the lap. So this is the lap it counts. P3 might be safe at the moment, not sure. It's gonna be tough to say always beforehand. I've had sessions where P1 or P2 is not enough in F1 Esports after your first Q2 run, and a little bit wide there at the apex. Now, I knew that first run was really good, so I was really pushing it here. Yeah, just to get a feel already for Q3, you know? Because we're gonna have 2 new sets for Q3, and I felt like that first run might be enough to get us into Q3. So I was like, you know what? We're just gonna full on send it, take our risk. We might make some mistakes, but at least we're gonna get a feel for it into the next right and left, and that was spot on. 400s gained to our delta, and yeah, just fully sending it there. Again, in the final sector, we're gonna fully go for it. We're P5 at the moment. Purple middle sector again, a little bit of hesitation on the apex, but looks like we've gained around 100 through that corner. I think without the hesitation, we would have gained a lot more though. Into the final corner we're gonna go. Ismail Fasti goes to P1 with a 26.4. We've gone wide in the final corner again, with a lot of entry unders there, but it is still gonna be improvement, and we've made it through anyway into Q3. But there was lots and lots of time to find in the lap. I kind of pushed 101% on that lap. Yeah, really just tried to nail it as a practice for Q3 already. Georgie Do out in Q2, P14 with Joni Tomola, P13 Tamas Kao in P12. I think that's the first time he has not made it to Q3, and that was because he did not go out again at the end of Q2 to save a set of tires, which I was really surprised by. But yeah, it is what it is. Into our first run in Q3 then. A little bit of hesitation again. You can see that was so close to invalidating. But again, on that last lap, the track is going to be the fastest. That's the one we have to nail. And that's the one we're going to try and nail for pole position, of course. Q3 for the first time without any slipstreaming antics. Not sure who's gone P1 so far, but still lots of people on laps behind us. So we go P1 at the moment, but the question is, will that remain by the time we start our last lap? And we're actually P2, only 400s behind Ismail Fassi. So yeah, let's see what we can do. This is the one that is going to count, and it looks like this is going to be our first real opportunity at pole position in the F1 24-25 Esports series. Into turn 1, a little bit of a lock-up. You could hear it through your headset or your speakers as we head into turn 1, but did not lose any time to our delta, but we have to gain lots of speed carried through turn number 3, and you can see half a tent up as we head through this wall flat out section all the way through. It's flat out, and then you have to hit the overtake button early on the exit there, and half a tent up into sector 2 at 31.547. And then again, we're properly sending it on the entry there, carrying lots of speed, 100 gain to our delta, and we're gonna have to gain quite a bit more in the next few corners through the next right hand. There we go, early on throttle, and once again around 100 gain through that corner. Let's see what we can do in the final sector though. DRS open, and it is gonna be a 0.601 split, and we're carrying lots of speed again through that left right hand, and this time around we gained a lot more than 100s. We gained 3 400s as we head into the final corner. As I see Freddie Rasmussen set up of 26.356, and again just missed the apex there in the final corner, trying to carry as much speed as possible. We're just suffering from some unders here. Across the line we're gonna go. It is P1 for now, with still some people to cross the line. Otis Lawrence beats us by 400s. And yeah, Ismail Fassi goes faster again with a 26.246. Absolutely nailing that lap, 1/10 faster than us. And that is frustrating, because that means he's going to get an extra point in the championship again. Which is not what we want. We're already, I think, 16 points behind, I said early on. We're going to be starting from P4. Obviously winnable from P4. Very winnable. I think around this track you can even win from P15 on the grid. But it's just that point loss that's frustrating me. 1 point to Ismail Fassi for pole position, of course. Let's see what we can do in the race. All right, here we go then. We're going to be starting on the hards. P4 on the grid, as I said before. Looks like pretty much everyone on the grid is going to be starting on the hards, as the medium tires seem to be just a better tire. So everyone wants to finish on that, especially on a track where overtaking is relatively easy. Into turn 1, we're going to go down the inside of Tom Manley, leaving him the space. Of course, he was quite far ahead. So yeah, sticking to P4 right there. We got Freddy Rasmussen behind us on the hards as well. Of course, Thomas Ronnaar in P6. And now, yeah, let's see what we can do. Make some overtakes perhaps in the first stint. We're gonna obviously start it off quite easy. Get a feel for it, because this is the last track of the first event. We're doing 4 races per event. And that means that by the time you get to Jeddah, you have not driven that track in like a week. So you have lost the feeling of all the practice you've done in the run-up to the event. Obviously, the setup's still going to be the same, but you've done 3 other qualifyings on other tracks and 3 full races on other tracks in changeable conditions. Some might have been wet. So, yeah, after that week, you might have lost a little bit of your touch as I go really wide in the first corner of Sector 3. So that's the difficult thing. It's not being the fastest in practice. It's not having the fastest PB. It's about, first of all, delivering under pressure, only doing it with no warm-up, but then also remaining pace with no practice for a week on that track. It's quite difficult. Yeah, some are better at it than others. Certainly I think I'm better at it than others, also delivering under pressure. Because as I'm trying to find my way through Ismail Fassi, because yeah, I know PBs from myself, I know PBs from others, and yeah, I'm definitely not the fastest driver in the world by any means. I never have been, but it's just that delivering under pressure. Now we're gonna go for it on our championship rival Ismail Fassi into the final corner. We go around the outside. He leaves us the space, we leave him the space. No contact made, and now we're gonna go early on the overtake button and get P3 from Ismail Fassi. Crucial move for the championship, as Tom Manley and Otis Lawrence are going side by side into turn 1. I think none of them want to be leading, they just want to be 1-2. Ideally P2, because then you have the opportunity to always overtake someone, especially with 3 DRS zones around there. At the same time, yeah, quite high speed corner in the run up to Sector 3. First corner of Sector 3 is quite a high speed corner, so yeah, it's difficult to follow closely around there and then take advantage of the DRS as well, of course. But on this game, DRS is really, really powerful. Otis Lawrence has come into the pits at the end of lap 12, and then at the end of lap 13, we can see more people diving into the pits. Our teammate Freddy Rasmussen dives into the pits together with Ismail Fassi, and I think Thomas Ronnaar as well at the end of lap 13 here. We're going to continue though and do the usual strategy. Go long in that first stint and have fresher tires towards the end. So yeah, let's see how this all plays out. Thomas Ronnaar actually boxed, I think, end of lap 12 as well, because you could see him set there the fastest lap. So that would have only been possible if he boxed earlier than the end of lap 13. However, we are going for at the end of lap 15, 10 laps on the mediums, 10 laps to overtake a whole lot of cars. We slow down just in time for that 80 kph speed limit. Tom Manley into the pits, a whole lot of people coming into the pits. A lot of people.
And away we go, no problems, very smooth. Red Bull will no doubt be very happy with that stop.
A lot of people going for only 10 laps on the mediums. You can see, I think Lucas Blakely, George Idowu, Tom Manley and us going for the mediums. And yeah, I had to be careful there with Joni Tomola on my inside. I'm not sure if he saw me. On purpose, I left a lot of space just in case he did not see me. Yeah, P15 it is. And we got 10 laps to yeah, overtake 14 cars. Obviously, it's going to be slightly less because you can see there P1, 2, 3, and 4, I think, are all on their starting tire. So they are still going to have to box. So that's 4 people less, basically. So basically, we have to overtake 10 people in 10 laps. Yeah, I'm just taking a chill on this out lap. I had to recharge my battery a little bit because I pushed quite hard on the in laps. So yeah, I just made sure, you know what, we're gonna recharge our battery. We've got Tamas Gal ahead of us. He's giving us DRS for this out lap, and then we're gonna pass him by the time we start sector 1. That was the plan all along. I just wasn't sure if I was gonna pass him here or on the next race, but I had Joni Tormela pushing quite hard behind me, so I decided, you know what, let's just go for it here, and then, yeah, I'm sure Tamas and Joni are both not gonna dive on me in turn 1 to try and get past, because they know we are on fresher tires, and their best bet at points is us carrying them towards the leading train when they are on slightly fresher tires as well. Purple last sector there from us. End of lap 17, you can see we are right behind our teammate Freddie Rasmussen, and yes, straight away gonna go for the move here. Freddie is not gonna fight this because we're on 2-lap fresher tires and we already have caught up. So yeah, a lot of people boxing really early. Someone has gone wide in the final corner, really wide, and that gives Alfie Butcher the opportunity to move past. Now we're gonna go for the move on Alvaro Carreton. We set the fastest lap of the race, and that is up to P9 past Alvaro Carreton. We see Fabricio struggling a little bit. Contact being between Ismael and Fabricio Donoso in turn 2, and yeah, I just made sure to recharge my battery here because I saw these guys going side by side into there. I was like, there's no way they're gonna do that. Wisely, Ismael backed off, and because yeah, that would have not gone too well. I've done that once myself, and trust me, it does not work. Not in F1 Esports and not in League Racing. As Ismael is going side by side with Fabricio Donoso again. Ismael hangs it around the outside, and actually he might pull this one off finally as he heads into the next right-hander. And yeah, now these guys have been battling. This is going to give us the opportunity to go for it as well. And that's why we've turned on the overtake button, and we're going to go for the move on Fabricio Donoso around the outside, I guess we could call that. Had to lift quite a lot there actually to not run into the back of Ismael. And now we're going to go on the attack against him as well to get P7 here at the end of lap 18. 7 laps to go at the end of this one. However, we only need to overtake 6 more people to get P1. So we've got time, especially with, I think, 1 car up front that is still yet to box. Holding someone up when it pits down is not allowed, I think so, by the rules. So I think that car is going to jump out of the way soon. Yeah, we're behind Alfie Butcher now. Not sure when he boxed, but just as per usual, we're going to try and get past ASAP as the RB car jumps out of the way from, I think, P3. And yeah, that moves us up into P6. 7 laps to go, and 5 cars to pass for P1. A little bit of a gap between Danny Bresnay and P2, I think because of the RB car. But yeah, still well within DRS range, I think so. So yeah, let's see what we can do here. See if we can go for a move already into sector 3. That's not really a corner you want to go side by side. So you really need to make sure, if you go for the overtake, that you've cleared that car once you go in here. Because just because of the speed we carry through there on the F1 game and just how the corner shapes, you can't really go side by side through there. However, into the final corner, we're going down the inside of Alfie, making sure we get to the apex in case he went around the outside. We obviously cannot push him into the wall. So yeah, P5 it is, with 6 laps to go, 4 cars. And if we keep this up, we are going to be leading in no time. However, those 2 Merc cars are probably going to be quite tough for us to get past, because they are obviously going to be working together. And yeah, they're not going to make it easy. You can see Thomas struggling a little bit in dirty air with understeer there, I think so, just like everyone else. Yeah, again, on the exit you can see him trying to get the rotation, but once you get within that 3/10 window, 2/10 window, it's getting really tough to get the car rotated. So let's see here. We can go for move already on the next straight, or we have to wait into the final corner or turn 1. We're going to go on the overtake button. We managed to make this move on Fabrizio Donoso, of course. However, I think Fabrizio was a little bit low on battery, so he couldn't really use his battery. So that was maybe not a good comparison. But Thomas goes for the move into the first corner of Sector 3, and then he spins around. And we barely get out of that unscathed.
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
And yeah, it felt like I almost had to come to a halt there to avoid a spinning Danny Bresnay. And that's why Alfie got through, because Alfie just fully sent it. Wasn't scared of getting damage, I guess. And yeah, then I had to kind of avoid Alfie a little bit on the inside as well. But somehow we've made it through unscathed. But as you can see in the top right, only 13 cars remain, as there was a huge crash in that fast left and right ender. For the people who have watched the broadcast, they have seen it. If you have not watched it, go back, run them before F1 Esports Series 2024-2025 season, because it was huge car pile up. You can see 2 people in the pits as well. So I think in total there was like 10, 11 cars involved in that crash. Yeah, somehow we got through that unscathed. Obviously took it really careful and ended up losing a position to Alfie, but because of the crash Alfie lost DRS, and that gave us the position back. But now we have to focus on our own race again. We need to try and get past one of these guys, so we can either be leading or be P2 into the final lap to give us a chance at the win. And into turn 1, I was all the way up to the wall to make sure Jake had all the space he needed in the middle. However, no DRS for him, so we completely cleared Jake into turn 1. You can see Otis charging his battery just like us into turn number 3. Because there's only 3 laps remaining. And for the final lap, he won the full battery. So let's see what we can do. Just dropping a bit of a gap to Otis in the first sector, because ideally we want to be P2. At the same time, I do not mind too much leading into the last lap, because again, just like China, I was confident that I could keep the lead on the final lap. You can see Otis really going slow there. He wasn't using any of his battery and didn't have DRS, but I think even then he might have been lifting there to force us into a move, because if I would have lifted as well, Jake might have gotten through again. I think if Jake used his battery there, he might have gotten P2 into that final corner, but it's tough to see when you're in P3, and it's hard to see what the leading car exactly is doing, because there's a car in between, obviously. However, onto the final lap we're going to go. We're going to be leading into this final lap, just like China, because I felt like we can win this race leading into the final lap. Even though in league racing it was very unlikely, we've got we've got quite a lot more dirty air in F1 Esports than we have on the regular game, so it's not a good comparison. Just making sure that we're going to be sitting on 100% battery when we enter Sector 3, because that's where all the fireworks will kick off. Not in this middle sector, it will definitely be in the final sector on those final 2 DRS straights. And let's see them. Otis 2/10 behind. Through the right and the left. Again, using a little bit of battery, but not too much. Just saving it for that final straight. You can see Otis closing up to the back of us, but there's going to be a high-speed corner coming up, and it's not nice to follow closely through there. So early on the power, a little bit of a wiggle as we turn on the overtake button. And now the question is, do we have enough straight line speed to stay ahead into the final corner? We're obviously going to go defensive. Otis is not gaining that much. Up into the final corner, we're going to go defensive. Otis goes around the outside. We make sure we get to the apex and leave him the space, but he tire hooks and stopped us from accelerating out of that corner. And that's going to give him the win here.
Nice one. very lovely drive. On to the next one.
In the last lap. And yeah, that was frustrating, very obviously, because we had that in the back up until the tire hooking. Now, I very clearly asked the race director before the first race, is tire hooking going to be penalized? Yes, it's going to be penalized if you gain an advantage from it. I left more than enough space on the outside, because if someone tire hooks, the inside car is going to get dragged to the outside. So if I would have actually even slightly sent them a little bit too wide initially, we would have both been in the wall. So, however, stewards did not follow the rule book or the race director. They decided not to penalize it. And yeah, not too surprised, because in the past 7 or 8 years of F1 Esports, they have never penalized the winning car, apart from Freddie Rasmussen in 2019 Montreal for crossing the pit exit line. So, as far as my memory serves, no driver that has ever won a race has been penalized. So, again, nothing against Otis, because he drove a phenomenal race. And yeah, it is not his fault, you know. He just does what he has to do to win the race. But yeah, I guess they do not want to kill the show, which is just embarrassing from them. But it is what it is, you know. At least it has set a nice precedent for the next 8 races in F1 Esports, for round number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, that if you're the car on the outside and the car on the inside is going to get a better exit, you can just turn in and make sure they are not going to get a better exit. But yeah, that's how it goes. We will remember that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Nonetheless, as you can see, a gap to the leader has been closed. 8 points now as we head towards the next 2 events. It is what it is. We have to deal with it. Hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. And see you guys next time. Ciao.